How's it going, my boys? Moses here with a new build for you guys. This time it's Ice Crash. It looks actually pretty sick, and I love every second. Leveling in this character, I started out with Cleave until level 28, at which point you get Ice Crash, and from that point it's just pretty much steamrolling through story, destroying everything on your path. The weapon of choice is a staff. I am playing solo self-found, and the goal is to have a pseudo 7-link elder staff that is also Eclipse, because Eclipse staffs have the implicit of increased global crit chance. So for now I don't have that. What I do have is a Primordial staff that is giving us chance to block. Pretty solid. And I also have another one here trying to get that hybrid Fortify increased physical damage. Now Fortify increased physical damage can roll level 16, level 18 and level 20 Fortify, and increased physical damage increases the higher the Fortify level is. So ideally you want level 20, and I believe the maximum roll there is up to 129 increased physical damage, maybe 39, I'm not entirely sure. But the point is that you want that hybrid roll, and when you have that hybrid roll, you want to isolate, multi-mod, craft attack speed, physical damage, crit, and all that kind of stuff, and you have yourself a nice staff. What I got here is, I got tier 1 flaring, increased physical, added flat fizz, right? And then I regold, augmented attack speed, and attack speed if you've killed recently. And then I was hoping to regold the Fortify mod, at which point I would pretty much call it, and then craft whatever. Don't even need to multi-mod at that point, but instead I got the crit multi. So crit multi is a pretty solid build for our build because we're crit, and I decided to multi-mod that and then get that increased physical damage and increased cold damage. So that's all about the staff. Now let's talk about Ice Crash itself. You right click and it will create these huge circle on the ground spikes, and everything will freeze, shatter and die. We have 50% converted from the gem itself, and the way that we take care of the rest of the 50% conversion is we grab Winter Spirit, physical converted to cold, 20 and 20. So that puts us at 90%, and then the rest of the conversion we're getting from from Temple's Gloves with the I can't read it, but the mod is a prefix. It's cold damage to attacks and 25% physical converted to cold, and that way we have 100% conversion. Self-found, just found it from the temple, and also these are pretty available across the board because you get temple items from Legion monsters, and Legion is insane for veiled items, temple items, helm enchants, and all that kind of stuff. So for the rest of the links, we got Ice Crash, melee physical damage, Fortify, increased critical strikes, multi-strike, and elemental damage with attacks. When I was leveling, I didn't have increased crit. I had attack speed, just faster attack gem, which was very, very solid. But since we leveled up a lot, we grabbed a whole lot of attack speed from the tree, and I decided to go crit. We grabbed the crit nodes for the staff, and we're going full crit at this point, so increased critical strikes. And one more word: when we finally have our crafted staff with Fortify, hopefully level 20 Fortify, we're going to be able to remove Fortify and instead put Hypothermia or Cold Pen, right? So Cold Pen or Hypothermia depends on whether it's a single target fight for bossing or for mapping. Alright, so yeah, Fortify, increased crit, multi-strike, and elemental damage with attacks. Pretty straightforward 6-link we have here. Again, we got just fossil crafted with life, hybrid life, increased max life, and then resists, and then some dexterity, and then veiled mod chosen, which gives us life and mana, right? So this chest is kind of insane with 13% total increased max life and 123 flat life. We get about 500 life off of this beauty. Over here, I got this Arctic Armor Helm enchant, which reduces mana reservation, which allows us to use it. So I got, for reservation, I got Arctic Armor, which is fire and physical damage reduction. Reserving only 17%, and yeah, without it, we won't be able to consistently use our actual Ice Crash, right? But with it, we got enough to be able to leech and sustain attacks. So, reservation is Ice Crash, Arctic Armor, Precision level 1, because we have this Watcher's Eye that gives us increased attack damage while affected by Precision. It doesn't need to be high level, but 53% increased attack damage for just one jewel socket with some life is actually pretty freaking sick. So I'm glad that I managed to get it, and it's pretty much going to be useful for every other melee build. I'm going to make this Soul Found Legion League. So it only reserves 22 mana, and we're getting 53% increased damage and 6% max life. Hatred, of course, physical as extra, and more cold damage. War Banner and Blood and Sand. Now, Blood and Sand, we got the Blood and the Sand stance. Blood is less area, but more area damage. Sand is, you know, more area, but less area damage, and you can also see it from the tooltip. Blood stance, Sand stance right now. Cool. For the most part, I'm mapping with with Sand stance, and when I get into bosses or essence monsters or rough, whatever, tough mobs with resists, rare ones, I switch to Blood for the more area damage. Other links, I have a cast when damage taken with level 10 Enfeeble, level 9 Immortal Call. It's basically level 50 required cast when damage taken. It's level 7, right? So that one dictates the level of support gems that we have here, or socketed gem spells, whatever. So we got Enfeeble, requires level 10, level 50, and then level 50 Immortal Call. This gives us less damage from nearby monsters that are cursed, and then Immortal Call gives us the damage immunity, no longer damage immunity, but less damage for 1 second with a 3-second cooldown. So it's pretty solid. 30 less elemental, 30 less physical. And then Frost Bomb needs to just be level 1. Will apply cold exposure to nearby enemies whenever you get hit. Frost Bomb will just proc underneath the monsters. It's kind of hard to see because Ice Crash is so, just takes all over the world, but it's there, and Frost Bomb will apply that exposure, so negative 25 cold res. And then we have Molten Shell, increased duration, which gives us a nice damage reduction. While our Lion's Roar is up, it will soak about 6k, roughly 6k damage before depleting, and it's a nice little way for us to mitigate damage, especially against these Beyond or Syndicate members, or big temple monsters and all that kind of stuff. Delve. Other than that, we have Leap Slam with Blood Magic because we want it to be from our life, so we won't be, we won't have to rely on mana regen or mana leech when there are no monsters nearby. So obviously, Blood Magic with Leap Slam. Endurance Charge on melee stun. Leap Slam now changed so that it will always stun enemies that are on full life. That's the first blue line. 36% stun duration against enemies that are on full life, and enemies are always going to be stunned when are on full life. So that's the last line right there. So Endurance Charge on melee stun will generate endurance charges when we're stunning enemies. Pretty straightforward. And then faster attacks, so we'll be able to leap faster. What else in terms of links? Precision, War Banner, Ancestral Protector for more attack speed. Right, when Totem is active, that gives us more attack speed, and that's quite substantial. Blood Rage, of course, for more attack speed, for generating frenzies on kill, and for a little bit of leech. And then this is the reservation, Hatred, Blood and Sand. We got Enlighten here, level 3, to be able to reserve our mana properly. So Arctic Armor, Hatred. I believe I went through all the links. I did really get super lucky, and while leveling up this character, I was doing all my tall splinter or breaches, or breach stones, and I got the pandemonius, which is actually insane for my build because it's pure cold um, conversion, so we get 20% cold resistance. I'm saying pure cold conversion because I had a thought early on, perhaps to go with physical to lightning and then use Impulsa. That was an idea that I had because, when you have Impulsa and then you have a crit build, half of which is cold, half of which is lightning with physical to lightning, monsters will get shocked and then shocked enemies will explode, cascade, and all that kind of stuff. Perhaps with even elemental prolif. I had this thought, but I decided to go full cold, and I got lucky. I got this amulet. It's actually pretty sick. 20% cold penetration, cold damage, and monsters action chill enemies for 1 second when hit. So this will guarantee a chill, and I believe it also works on big bosses like Elder Shaper, Uber Elder, and Guardians and all that kind of stuff, because it says chill enemy for 1 second on hit, reducing their action speed by 30%, and blind chill enemies on hit. So nearby enemies are going to be blinded. It's insane for my build, and I'm so very lucky that I found it. By the way, if I'm wrong about the chill effect, I would love it if you guys let me know in the comments below. Thank you for that, but I'm pretty sure this will also chill and reduce monster speed of the big kahuna bosses like Schnaper and all these other guys. Because the way it is worded right here. But either way, chilled enemies are blinded. That's a very good defensive amulet for us, because everything is chilled when we're hitting it, and the area is huge, and this build just feels incredible. Yeah, outside of that, we just got some flat fizz, some life, some resist, some elemental damage attacks. Over here, got some elite damage attacks, some stats, some life, some resists. This belt is nothing too insane, but it's decent. It's got elemental damage and elemental damage attacks with a fairly low life roll. I got here with damage effectiveness of the jewel of the gem stands on 237. Abyssal jewel stacking would actually be very good if I was going that route. But the only realistic, socket I could put in is over here. I mean, you could obviously, get Shroud of the Lightless. You could obviously get these Tomb Fist 2 sockets and stack Abyssal Jewels. 237 damage added damage effectiveness is actually pretty strong, so you could totally do that. Again, SSF, so I can't even entertain the idea of trying it out. But for what I do have, I got some flat fizz, some flat cold damage to attacks, to stabs, no life roll here, unfortunately, but we did get the fizz damage reduction if you weren't damaged by hit. It's kind of a useless mod. I spent quite a few fossils over here trying to get a decent jewel, but that's all I managed to get, so it is what it is for now. And for flasks, we have Instant of Staunching, Life Flask, a Serious Promise, the double dipping. Obviously, it's pretty freaking insane. Lots and lots and lots of chaos damage off of this one. And the Chaos Resist. Diamond Flask because we're critting, and Heat because, well, we want to be immune from chills and from freezes. And then Warding on our Quicksilver. I like to have Experimenters for the duration. I like to have long duration of warding, because sometimes you travel in maps and it's just a matter of like quality of life, never to be affected by temp chains or all these other annoying curses. And Lion's Roar for more melee damage. Pretty big for us over here. Now let's talk about the ascendancies. Excuse me. The ascendancies, this is a Scion. I went with Scion because I just think that it's incredible, and because I wanted a tree that is, can easily access these nodes for the conversion, right? And there's a big split here. Of course, there's a bunch of stuff that we're picking up over here, and a bunch of stuff for the staff. So let's start over here. As Scion, the way that I level, if you're intending on playing a staff build, the way that I went about it is just start with melee damage and strength, picked up all of this kind of stuff, and just ignored this cluster, went up all the way here, and then grabbed these damage nodes and some area, and that was pretty much all I had over here. And then I went down from here, grabbed the attack speed nodes all the way here, Art of the Gladiator, picked up the two-handed nodes over here, and then went down through the two-handed nodes, life, and went over here to fortify. At this point, and through the entirety of the leveling and through the entirety of the character's life, fortify is as a main link. I just don't think it's, I think it's extremely useful to have it as a main link. So I just use it. It gives a big more multiplier, and the fortify bonus, I feel like it's pretty strong to have. So yeah, picked up that fortify effect, and insane amount of attack speed. I can almost guarantee they're going to nerf this cluster, but until now, for 4 points you're getting, that's 8, 4, and 4. That's 16 attack speed for 4 points, and 42% increased damage, and 20% increased fortify effect. A little bit of fortify duration is irrelevant, but 42 attack damage, 16 attack speed, and 20% fortify effect for 4 points is actually pretty incredible. I picked up the attack speed over here, and at that point I went to the Winter Spirit, picked up Herbalism, and then picked up this elemental cluster. And later on, once I that was pretty much the leveling, and then I reached Kitava. Before Kitava, I went and I did my labyrinth, right? So I did normal, cruel, and merciless labyrinth all at once, because as Scion, you kind of want the path of the ranger. Only then your build really starts to shine. Until then, just picking up Raider is kind of useful, but I didn't feel like I wanted it. I just wanted to play through the story. So what I did was I waited until just before Kitava. Before I'm about to kill Kitava, I went and I did normal, cruel, merciless, just chained these 3 labyrinths, and I got all the points. And basically I picked up Raider. Why Raider? Because you get frenzy charges, you get onslaught permanently, attack damage, movement speed, chance to dodge it. It's actually pretty insane, right? And permanent onslaught, permanent frenzy on bosses is incredibly valuable, in my opinion. So I went with Raider, Path of the Ranger, so I was able to pick it up, right? At which point I basically made the tree to what it is right now, all right? Which is disconnected all of these like whatever life node and all this travel and the attack speed over here. And yeah, at that point I pretty much reached mapping. I unspec'd over here so that I could get into the crit nodes, because there's a bunch of crit nodes that I want here, and there's a bunch of crit nodes that I want here, and crit nodes that I want here. The build, pretty much the important nodes are like, this is area of effect and attack speed, which is incredible, but mostly just the crit, and crit. This is what you need in order to, shove in the increased critical strike gem. When I had all of these, I put the increased critical strike gem. I unspec'd the elemental damage node. It's like 6 points over here, so I could grab all the crit. And with increased critical strikes, I started playing the build the way that you see it right now. All right, so that's how I leveled up, and that's the progress of the tree. And later, of course, I picked up the staff and accuracy. This is just an enormous amount of attacks. It's like 12, right? It's 4, 4, and 4. That's 12. That's 20 attacks with staves for 4 points. I think it's really strong. And of course, it gives us some crit, the big node in the end, and lots of accuracy. Obviously, you don't need accuracy on gear. There's enough accuracy overall for this build. And we got 95% chance to hit. 95% chance to hit, 91% against evasive monsters. That's pretty strong, and that provides very consistent crits. What haven't I said about the build? Yeah, lastly, um, around level 85, I think just recently, 84. I went and I did Assassin. You could alternatively pick Elementalist, so you can do Reflect. You can pick Inquisitor, so you can do more damage. I felt like I needed a consistent way of generating power charges. And if I'm already getting my Frenzies and my Onslaught for free, why not get Assassin and get my um, and get my my power charges also for free, and getting a little bit of extra movement speed, some quality of life there, and +1 to critical strike chance. It's a global, and that adds to the weapon itself. So that's very strong in my opinion. I decided to go with it, but alternatively, I believe Inquisitor will deal more damage overall because the crit multi and enemies take 10% essentially more damage and damage penetration. Um, so I think Inquisitor is the stronger choice in terms of damage, and you can shove Power Charge on crit. I was actually playing with it. It's not the most comfortable thing, which is the reason why I decided to not go Inquisitor and instead, for the second Ascendancy, pick Assassin. I think it's a very solid choice, but again, it's Path of Exile. You know, feel free to change. Regrets, just change your pick. It's not that big of a deal, and see what's working out for you. For the future of the build, right now we're level 86. At this point, I pretty much picked up everything that I wanted, and all I have left in terms of damage are these 4 nodes. That's 16, 16. That's 48, right? And then 78% increased elemental damage with staves, which is huge, and 5% damage penetration, right? So that is really good, and reduced elemental damage while stationary is pretty decent. Nice defensive option here. Yeah, so 4 more points at level 90, and then 92, 91, 2, 3, 4, we can pick up like life nodes, fill in more life, reach about 6.5k life, I believe, around level 95. We can also pick up jewel sockets. We could also venture towards the crit over here, Heartseeker and a jewel socket. We could venture over here as well. Originally, that was the plan for my tree, but yeah. Oh, by the way, leech, life and mana leech, only 1 point. So maybe we'll need 2 more leech points for life to increase that life leech recovery. But yeah, for now, I don't know. I've been doing quite well without it. So just 1 life and mana leech over there. Let's do rare unidentified corrupted Caldera map for the Pantheon power. I don't remember if it's nasty. I crafted it a couple of hours ago. But it doesn't have reflect. 90 I mean, yeah, it can't be too insane if it's unidentified. But yeah, let's watch some ice crash. So yeah, you get the Arcanist. You get that increased. You get that increased. If I think it's no region, maybe. You get that increased area of effect if you've killed recently. It's actually quite insane, the level of AoE that you're getting. So if you're playing in a trade league, obviously you want to 6-link your staff. You want an Elder Staff with that hybrid mod of Fortify and increase physical damage. That's one. You definitely want to entertain the idea of running Carcass Jack, because 50% increased area effect, 50% increased area damage is actually retarded. And you want probably a Watcher's Eye that has +2 critical strike chance while affected by hatred with hybrid precision would be probably the strongest option, or elemental penetration, cold penetration while affected by hatred, stuff like that. Let's move to blood stance so we can kill these guys a bit more efficiently. You see, we're just like destroying these legions, and the speed, I mean, oh my goodness, like seriously, this build just feels incredible. Turning on the what's it called here? That's a tier 15 map. I mean, I just like literally got into, I feel like I just got now into maps, and we're just kind of like destroying. This character is incredibly strong. If I try to compare it to Tectonic Slam, this was my recent build. Tectonic really started to feel great when the character was like level 92, 93. So it took me about a week to actually start feeling good about Tectonic Slam. This just straight up feels amazing from the get-go. Like just from the very beginning, Ice Crash started feeling great, and AoE, um, the more AoE you scale, the better and better it feels. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, nobody plays it. Nobody plays attacks with stabs. Who even does that? But seriously, the options right now for damage, forget about fucking Cyclone. Like seriously, everybody's playing Cyclone, ED Contagion because top streamers, whatever. But I'm telling you, the Path of Exile, you got so many things you could do, and this is in solo self-found. Everything here, right? So SSF settings, everything could be so much better in a trade. Like you can probably for like 6 or 7 exalts, which is a month into the league, very affordable, buy yourself a 6-link white socket to the carcass jack, or something that would fit this type of and there you go. Oh, he's here. I don't know, he teleported? What happened there? Anyways, there you go, Pantheon power. So like seriously, no hate on, it's just like, I don't know, I don't like it when everybody's playing the same build in a game where like legitimately variety is the name of the game, and you can do so many things and you don't have to copy people's builds. Like seriously, even my build, I'm working with a staff, right? You could do the same thing with two-handed axes and pick up, instead of staff nodes, axe nodes, perhaps get a different ascendancy, perhaps, just change, modify a little bit, see how something like that feels. And that way it kind of like allows you to experiment more. Crit, non-crit, pick up elemental overload, for example. It doesn't have to be crit. You can get a lot more just elemental damage off of elemental overload. It's another massive 40% mod, right? So there's a lot of stuff that you can really do in Path of Exile, and it's really kind of a shame to me to browse a couple of streams and all you see is freaking Cyclone. I mean, okay, sure, it's a channeling skill. Move on, guys. I mean, there's infinite things you can do in PoE, and just seeing this freaking Cyclone. I am going to make a Cyclone build because I haven't played it in, ever. Last time I played it, kind of sucked. I don't like Cyclone, but I'm going to give it a shot at a certain point, perhaps this league. But, it's definitely not my first choice for any kind of experiments that I'm running on in PoE, and like my next build, who knows what that's gonna be. Anyways, this character is like a blast, seriously, and I really, really recommend you guys to check it out. And if you got any questions, make sure to ask them in the comments below. Maybe there will be a follow-up for this character. Maybe there will be Shaper, Elder, and all that kind of stuff. With this character, maybe we'll find some interesting delve bosses. We'll see. Make sure to check out the stream. We're going to be playing with this character for a week or two, and we just made it. I'm looking forward to see how it progresses. Thanks for watching, and take care.